Hello y'all, and welcome to my hand lettering tutorial. Grab you a notepad and your favorite pen or marker, and we're going to get started. First, I'm just going to draw out my alphabet. These are my letters that I do in script. So just practice writing your letters. I'm going over these quite quickly just because you don't need to see how long it takes me to do these letters, but yes, you're actually drawing the letters. You're not writing them, you're drawing them. So just practice writing as you normally would your cursive letters. I will have a worksheet that I will be adding to this lesson sometime next week after I get it scanned and loaded into PDF. I'll add it here so that you can print those off and practice writing. So you just don't, write in cursive. Some people don't. So if you don't write in cursive and need a little help with your letters, this will be something that you can trace over and practice with. So I'm just going through the rest of my letters here, all in cursive. You will see some different variations for different letters, like the H, the K. There are several different ways that I write those, so I've included all of them here. Just kind of depends on how much space I have as to how I write them, so that's just something to consider. I know some of that image kind of dropped off there at the end. It got cut off by the camera, so again, all of the letters will be shown on the worksheet. This is kind of a follow-up to the Merry Christmas sign that I showed on my Instagram. I had a lot of people asking me to do the tutorial on hand lettering, so that's why I chose to do this. So this is just the beginning process. You will need to learn how to do the hand lettering part first before you move on to any other kind of project. So I just thought I would start with this. Now I'm doing just the regular print alphabet letters. Pretty basic there. You probably have your own style of doing that. But just that will be included too on the PDF as well. So I'm just showing you how I write all these out, and then we'll do a little lesson on how I put the words together, and then after you see that process, we will go back and add some shading to these letters. Okay, and just following. I do like on the letters that have the horizontal lines, I like to do a top horizontal line, and then I also like to do a bottom horizontal line, like on the T and the F and the K, just to kind of make them longer looking. So now we're going to practice with some words. One of my favorite ones that I started learning to write was hello. So I'm just going to draw that out. Now with hand lettering, you actually draw the letters. You don't write them, you draw them. So it's a continuous motion of your hand, your wrist, and the pen. You really just kind of do a flow. It's all a single stroke. You try not to break up or lift up off of the pen at any time when you're actually writing the word out. And here's just hello printed. And hello again, just some different variations here of how you can write hello. You can use the bouncing letters. And if you're writing on something that doesn't have lines on it, I prefer to write kind of and stagger the letters, just so you don't have to have it completely straight. Okay, now for the shading. We're going to go back and add some shading to this. So I'm going to pick up a different colored pen just so you can see the difference between the two. So I'm using just a red Sharpie here. And then we're going to follow the down strokes of the letters. So I trace back over, and then I draw a line to mirror the original line with a shaded line. This is going to be your shadow. This is where you're going to fill in with your color or your lines or however you want to shade that in. So these are your down strokes. Your E, trace back over that. That's your flat. This is your upstroke. That's your flat. That's your downstroke. That's where you make your mark to your next flat. See the flat to the flat. That's your downstroke. That's the area that you want to shade. Upstroke, and then the downstroke. Here I did it on the inside of the L, but you can also do it on the outside of the L. Wherever you have the most room to shade, it really doesn't matter. Also, on all of your downstrokes, even on your curly parts of your letters, you want to add your shading to that. Okay, so next you want to color it in. This really finishes it off. It tightens everything up. So whether you're using just a full pen to color that in with, or you're using little hash marks, just however you want to do that. I prefer just to fill it all in. You can use different colored inks. You can use solid black if you're doing a black pen, white if you're doing a white pen. So now we're going to move down here to this other hello, the printed hello. And again, I am just going to thicken the downstroke of the H, that first line there, the first side of that, and then come across, and I'm going to make a mark right here. This is the flat. So from the flat down, and then just kind of curve in just to join your shaded line to your original line. There we go, down, down, down. So that's the downstroke. On the E, you can work on the outside and shade that area, or just draw a line right through the center like that. Either way you want to do that. The L's are pretty easy. You're just going to draw your line down the, just mirror that first line with the second line. And in your O's can be a little tricky, so just practice your O's. So there we're just going to color all of that in. And then next we're going to move on to our sign. Again, I'm just making a template just so I can practice what I want to write and how much room I have so I can get the spacing and everything just right. So I'm tracing around my shape. And of course, this is if you're using something like this. If you're just using a canvas or something, then of course you just want to practice on a regular sheet of paper. So I'm just going to choose just a regular Sharpie pen, and this is Illustrated Faith. This is a 0.65 point pen, so pretty thick point. I'm going to draw a line here, which I actually wouldn't do that on the wood, but just to practice with to get the center of my paper. And then I'm drawing the letters. You notice that I'm using a continuous motion of the pen and my wrist. I'm following through. I'm also making enough room between the letters, keeping in mind that I need to shade the areas in between. So I'm giving myself enough room as I'm drawing out each word so I can come back and shade that. So again, some people ask me if I do freehand. Yes, but I've been doing this for a couple of years now, so when I started out, could I do this? No. That's why you need to really practice this. So draw several of your shape and then just practice. You may want to mix your fonts. You may want to do some pretty script letters and then do some bouncing plain, just some plain letters. Okay, and I'm just kind of trying to decide how I want to do this next. So I'm just trying to visualize here how I want to draw that out. And then I'm adding some bouncing to this. This makes it fun. It makes it hide any errors that you may have. And then add some little swirlies there at the end. Just makes it really pretty. And then for our last letter, him. And then I'm just going to finish this up. I really didn't like the M here, but it will work. The good thing about it is you can hide a multitude of sins by coming back and thickening. So don't give up. Don't throw it away. Work on it. Come back. And once you've added your shaded part to your letters, you'll be surprised how much better they look. Okay, now that's all done. So next I'm going to add my shading to that. So again, we're going to downstroke, downstroke, and I trace back over the letters as I've written them, just because I have to remind myself too of where all the downstrokes are. Even the little curly cues get a downstroke. So just work on thickening all of those letters. And I'm going to play a little bit of music while I finish this up. Okay, so back to our first lettering sheet that we started. Now that you have seen the process of how to shade your letters and to make that into a faux calligraphy or just your pretty hand lettering, I'm using a green pen to go back and trace over all of these to show you where the downstrokes are. Okay, this will also be on your PDF practice worksheet that I'll have uploaded next week, so you can practice and you can see exactly where I added those. But practice, practice, practice. All this takes practice. Have a notebook again to practice writing your letters. Okay, next we're going to draw an S, a big one, so I can show you the upstroke. So up, up, up. Don't shade that part. You're flat. That's where you start shading. Start shading at your flat all the way down till it meets your next flat. That's where you stop. So from flat to flat on the letter S or any curved letter, coming up around, you'll notice all that's your upstroke, till you get to your next flat of your swirl that's on this S. Well, the rest of that's a downstroke, so you will actually make that a mirrored lettered as well. Okay? So, let's just practice writing. Let's see. How about Noel? Again, you can get as fancy with this as you want to get. Just make your letters big so that they can be shaded and leave enough space in between. And that takes practice too. So just keep practicing. And there's happy, just printed. Again, I've left enough space in between where I can come back and add my shading. On the P, inside the P there, and the Y. And then I love the word joy. I love all the letters. J and the O and the Y are some of my favorite letters to draw. So again, we're just going to upstroke. And I'm saying right there you could kind of shade that in because it's kind of coming around, but I decided not to. So I'm just going to do the J, just the side of the J, then the O, inside of the Y, and the outside all the way down to that flat, and the little swirl there. Put a dot on the I. And you can add some little, if you want it to be serif, just add some little lines to the ends of the letters to make it serif. And then some little hash marks around that if you kind of want to give movement to your letters. It's another fun little decoration that you can add. And a line across, and I'm going to highlight that with another really ugly line there, but it's okay. And I'm going to come back and add some diagonal dash marks there to kind of make it look like a peppermint stick. Just thought that would be fun to add there. So I'll do another lesson too on some different dividers and some laurel leaves and some pretty things that you can accent with after you have all your pretty handwriting down. So that concludes the lesson for today, in this quick little tutorial on how I do my hand lettering. So again, follow up with the worksheets and practice, practice, practice. And I hope you all have a very Merry Christmas. Thank you for joining me.